All right, we are back for day 17 of the Monica Sementilli trial. They were supposed to start at 12:30. They weren't. I moved it back to 1. They started probably around 12:50. So we're not super far behind, and once they hit their break, we will be caught up. So I already have it ready to go. Let me open my chat so I don't miss any of you. Let me know if there's any audio issues, if you can't hear the trial playing. All right.
If you could face me and raise your right hand, please. Do you solemnly state this testimony you may give in the cause now pending before this court shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. Please have a seat in the witness stand. And for the record, say and spell your first and last name, please.
Alicia Truesdale, AMICIA-TRUESDALE.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, ma'am. Can you tell us how it is that you're employed?
I'm currently employed at Wella Company.
And what do you do at Wella?
I'm an administrative assistant.
And how many years have you been with Wella?
21 this June.
Okay. And who are you an administrative assistant to?
Currently,
Yes.
Martin Dale, and also I assist Mika Quinn.
Okay. And previously Carol Protat?
Yes.
And did you know somebody by the name of Fabio Sementilli?
Yes, I did.
And did you work with him
Yes, I did.
for approximately how many years?
Probably 5 or 6, 7 years.
Okay. You were his executive assistant?
Yes.
Showing you people 73. Do you recognize who you see here in this photo?
Yes, I do.
And do you know all these individuals?
Yes, I do.
And is this Fabio and his children?
Yes, Luigi, Jess, and Bella.
Okay. And when did you first meet? Do you know approximately?
It was quite a while ago because when he came to work for us in the United States and did a stage show, we were, it was quite a while ago. And then he went back to Toronto and he ended up working for Wella in Canada. And then eventually he came down to the United States.
Okay. And once he came to the United States, did you see him just about every day when he was in the office?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And did you also know his entire family?
Pretty much, most of the family, yes.
Okay. Did you know his wife?
Yes.
Do you see her in court today?
Yes, I do.
Can you identify her, please?
It's Monica Sementilli. She's sitting right there.
Indicating the defendant.
Thank you. And you also knew Fabio's sister,
Yes.
Morella,
Yes.
as a platform artist for Wella as well?
Yes.
All right. And had you been to the Sementilli home in Woodland Hills many times prior to Fabio's death?
Yes, several times.
For work meetings, parties, things of that nature?
Yes.
And were you responsible for keeping Fabio's schedule and with all of his daily meetings and his travel?
Yes.
Okay. And did you always, as a matter of course, send him his agendas every time he traveled?
Always.
Okay. Did you also send them to the defendant so that she would have a breakdown of where he was when he was traveling, along with contact information and things of that nature?
Yes, I always did, as an emergency measure, usually.
And did you also handle any financials or work expenses for Fabio,
Yes, all of them.
including his travel mileage and things of that nature?
Yes.
Okay. And also worked with him or put through his paperwork for his life insurance and all of those type of things?
He actually handled that too with the company, but I was aware of it.
Okay. And did he and you have a very close relationship?
Oh, most definitely.
Okay. And did you also go with him to lead team meetings and trendsetters and various functions and events?
I did accompany him on several events, actually.
Okay. And where was his office located in relation to yours?
Right across from my cubby.
So he was, you were just outside of his office?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And when he was at the office and not traveling and actually working just outside where you would work or inside where you from where you worked, did you often speak to him throughout the day?
Oh, all the time.
Okay. And did you also note whether or not when he was in the office, if he would commonly speak to his wife several times throughout the day?
Yeah, I know when he'd call her, she'd call him.
Okay. Did you ever hear him refer to the defendant by a nickname?
Yes.
Pootsie?
Pootsie.
Did you know him to be somebody who would often leave to go on date nights and things like that with his wife?
I know he would mention it, that he had a date with his wife.
Did it seem to you that he loved his wife and family?
Adored her and them.
And on a typical work week, if Fabio wasn't traveling, was there also, was it also common that on a Monday or a Friday he might work from home?
He might, yeah.
And when he would work from home, or if you would go to see him and he was working from home, or if he had meetings from home, where would those take place?
Sustain.
When you went over to the house for meetings and functions, where would those meetings take place?
Out on his patio.
And when you spoke to him while he was at home, would he check in with you regularly throughout the day on days he worked from home?
Yeah, he'd want to know what was on his schedule, or I'd have to get a hold of him if somebody wanted him, needed him.
Okay. And was it also part of the business plan that he would often post on social media to the beauty industry from the patio?
From the patio, from an airplane, all over.
Okay. There was something I think that he would do called Fab Style Fridays.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So this was part of his work where he would post things about trends in the company, upcoming events, things of that nature, tips.
It's the only way any company is running now.
Yeah. And over the last year before his murder, did it seem that he was traveling internationally or traveling somewhat less?
Somewhat less. I had suggested that he not travel quite so much.
And did you attend a lead team meeting that took place down in, I think it was Torrey Pines, San Diego area in June of 2016?
Yes.
And did the defendant come to that event?
Yes.
Along with Fabio's team, the lead team?
Yes.
And was there a dinner during the nights that you guys were down there in San Diego?
Yes.
Okay. And did Fabio come with the defendant?
Yes.
And did it seem like their normal relationship to you back in June of 2016?
At the dinner.
Go ahead.
At the dinner, they seemed, it was, conversation as usual, a kind of thing. We went to an Italian dinner place, but it seemed as the evening kind of went on, it got a little, I don't know. It was a little different.
Different in what way?
Well, it wasn't quite the camaraderie, I think, that we normally experienced when we were all together.
Okay. And what did that have to do with the relationship between Fabio and his wife?
I'm sorry.
Was it their relationship that was different, or was it his relationship with the lead team?
It kind of seemed his relationship with all of us.
Okay.
Kind of seemed.
He seemed quieter.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Is that yes?
Yes.
And then during the dinner, did you all make plans to go out for drinks afterwards?
Yes, we did.
And did Fabio and the defendant go with you guys?
No, they did not.
Was that unusual as well?
Yeah, usually Fab would stick around for a cocktail.
Okay. And the next day, did he have you cancel his golf and the defendant's massage?
Yes.
And was there anything about the defendant's behavior during that event in June in San Diego that was unusual that you thought was odd?
I thought it was odd that he had me cancel those things because he specifically had me plan them. And he loves to play golf. And then at the breakfast that morning, I felt uncomfortable. I thought it was kind of strange.
What?
That Fob seemed to be hanging on her, or kind of being over affectionate, I guess, with her.
Okay. And that was unusual?
I thought it was. I thought that normally he would be part of the group.
Okay. And what was the defendant's demeanor?
Quiet.
Was she also affectionate with him?
No.
More standoffish?
Yes.
Did it seem like he was trying to please her?
Yes, that's what it appeared to me.
Now, on the date of Monday, January 23rd of 2017, do you remember that day?
Yes.
And during that day, did you know that Fabio was going to be working at home?
Yes.
And did you have a conversation with him somewhere around maybe 1:30, 1:50 in the afternoon?
Yes.
Okay. And to check in with you?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And at some point later, did you learn that Fabio had been murdered in the backyard of his home?
After I came back from class, yes.
And after the murder, did you go to the Sementilli residence?
I did not. I was to...
I'm talking about the days after.
Days after, yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And during the days after, did you come to the residence several times in order to bring food and things of that nature and provide support
Yes.
along with other individuals from Wallace?
Yes.
Now, in the days following the murder, was there a particular subject that the defendant wanted your assistance with?
Objection, leading.
Overruled.
Yes.
What was that?
Life insurance.
Okay. And what did she say to you, if anything, with respect to the life insurance?
She wanted to know if... Well, she had said to me, she says, Henry hasn't gotten back to me. Henry being the head of HR.
Henry Meyer?
Henry Meyer. And she seemed agitated. And I said it didn't seem like them. They were usually very good about getting back. And I did say to her that I would go back and mention something to Henry, that she had brought it up to me.
This is when you were at the house?
Yes.
And what was she doing when you came to the house?
She had paint samples. She was getting some remodeling done in her first floor.
Did she tell you that the insurance company had given her money
Yes.
to do that?
Yes, she did.
All right. And what, if anything, did she say with respect to the life insurance?
Just that she wanted to know what was going on with it. She wanted to know she wasn't getting any kind of response, she felt.
Okay. And did you have another conversation with her subsequent to that one again at the house where, again, she brought up that same issue?
Yes.
And did she question you about what the delay was with respect to being paid Fabio's life insurance?
She said she didn't understand what was taking so long.
Did she seem upset when she was talking about that?
She seemed agitated.
Okay. Did you describe previously in an interview that she was very upset?
Possibly. I mean, I just know that she was upset. She was anxious to get the money or to get it settled.
Did you know during that same period that she was receiving Fab's full salary?
Yes, I did.
Did she contact you with another issue that she wanted your assistance with.
Yes.
What was that?
She said that that her girlfriends were telling her that she should get out of town,
Okay.
and she had asked. I think you mean something else.
No,
that I
go
think-
ahead. I'm
okay.
finish your answer.
So
Go ahead.
she did come and ask me, or she called me and asked if I knew of any deals she could get in Las Vegas, and I said I would not be the person to ask that. Really, Melanie Garibay was the one that had the connection in Las Vegas.
Okay. And prior to this Las Vegas event, is that where she said she wanted to go?
Prior to the Las Vegas event,
No. Did she say that she wanted to go to Las Vegas? Is that what she said she was going to do?
she
with
said
her
she was
girlfriends?
interested in going to Las Vegas to get away. Yes,
With her girlfriends.
with her girlfriends.
All right. Did she also ask for your assistance in obtaining Fabio's travel mileage?
Yes.
Okay. I assume since Fabio traveled often that the
Yeah.
company, through the
Yeah.
company, he would have acquired airline mileage?
Yes.
Okay. And that there was a significant amount?
Yes.
And what did the defendant ask you to do?
She wanted them transferred over
To,
to herself.
okay. And did she ask for your assistance in doing that?
Yes.
And did you go to the house in order to get a copy from her of his death certificate in order to process that request?
Yes.
And did eventually you accomplish that task for her?
Yes.
After the murder, did she also ask for your help in setting up a wake or a memorial at the home the following week?
Yes.
And did she tell you what she wanted?
Yes.
What was that?
It was a particular Mexican restaurant or Mexican caterer that we had used before with Fabio.
The taco lady?
The Nana's Tacos, it's called.
Okay. And you assisted her in setting that up, or you took over that project?
Yes, I took it over.
All right. And did you attend that event?
Yes.
Okay. And who were the attendees or the people that were invited to attend this event at the Sementilli home?
At her request, she had asked that it be employees that would worked with Fabio and very close friends.
And family?
Yes, and family, of course.
And did you reach out to the family, Fabio's family in Canada, in order to assist them with their arrangements?
Oh, yes.
Hotels, flights,
Yes.
things of that nature? You insured the payment for all of that?
Yes.
All right. And on that following Sunday, January 29th of 2017, did you notice when you were at the event in the backyard that you had assisted in setting up or had set up, anything unusual with respect to her behavior there?
Overruled.
I thought that it was a rather dramatic behavior that was going on.
And did you notice whether or not she was sitting with somebody or with somebody that you didn't recognize?
Yes.
And did you speak to that individual?
I believe I asked, I didn't know who he was. I said, "Who are you?"
And did the individual tell you who he was?
He simply said that he was her racket. He played racquetball with her. He was from the gym.
Other than that one individual, where do you recall where they were sitting?
Almost across from Fabio's chair that was kept vacant because
I want to show you.
Is it at 9:21? Was there a particular chair that Fabio sat in whenever you met with him out here on the patio?
yes, the one over in the corner.
This one here?
Yes.
Okay. And where was this other male seated? The one that you didn't recognize?
On the sofa.
Across from
There
her?
might have been a chair there. I can't quite remember. There might have been a chair next to the sofa, but it was over in that area.
Other than that individual, did you recognize everybody else that was there in terms of their being close friends?
Yes, there were a
Well, of
few
people?
neighbors that had shown up, but they introduced themselves to me.
Neighbors. Okay. Nobody else that was
No.
odd or unusual.
No.
Now, when you mentioned that her behavior seemed dramatic, can you describe for us what exactly you witnessed?
I felt there was like a lot of loud sobbing and just very dramatic, very over-the-top kind of behavior.
Did you see any tears, like she was actually crying?
Not really.
Number 8. No tears.
Now, did you also assist in setting up the memorial that Wella put on for Fabio in May of 2017?
Yes, I did the whole thing.
Okay. And when you were arranging that particular event, did you have multiple conversations with the defendant about what was going to occur at the event?
We had a few conversations.
Okay. And did you see when she came to the event at the Wella offices that day?
Yes.
And were you surprised by anything at that point in time?
Yes.
Overruled.
What was it that you were surprised by?
She drove up in a brand new, full everything package Mustang. And I was rather surprised because she had said, I had heard that she didn't want to get rid of Fabio's truck because it reminded her so much of him. So I was a little surprised.
And did she tell you that she wasn't going to get rid of his truck because it smelled like Fabio?
She had mentioned that.
And did you direct, or did she go somewhere as once she arrived before the event started?
Yes, I had them sit right in Fabio's office.
Okay. And what was she doing? Did she send you to get her something?
She had asked if we had wine.
So she was sitting in his office drinking wine? Is that yes?
Yes.
At some point in time, you told us about when she asked you for a connection for Las Vegas. At some point in time, did she mention to you that she was also going to be traveling to Myrtle Beach?
She had mentioned something.
Okay. And did she tell you that she was going there because that was a place Fabio had always wanted to go?
She said something like that, yes.
And had Fabio ever mentioned going
I
to
had
Myrtle
never
Beach?
heard it before.
Did she tell you she was going with her lover?
No.
Did you know during the year preceding Fabio's murder in 2016 that she was having an affair?
Absolutely not.
Was that something that, if it was happening, perhaps Fabio would have mentioned to you, given your relationship?
Objection, speculation.
Stay.
Did he ever mention that he suspected
Never.
his wife was having an affair?
Never.
When you sent travel agendas to the defendant, did you also send them to an individual by the name of Robert Baker?
No.
I have no.
Good morning, Ms. Truesdale.
Hi.
You previously testified that back in 2017 and during the years prior, while you were working with Fabio, that he might work from home on a Monday or a Friday, depending on his prior travel schedules. Is that right?
Yes.
But there was no set day that it was always the case that a Monday following some sort of travel that he was absolutely for sure going to be working from home as opposed to in the
It
office.
depended on what was going on in the office. If he had meetings that he had to be there for, he was there.
And on January 23rd, 2017, am I correct that Fabio called you that morning to inform you that he was going to be working from home that day?
If I'm not mistaken, he had suggested it the week before that he might not be in on Monday. So, but he did let me know, yes, that he was not going to be in the office.
he affirmatively called you the morning of January 23rd.
He might have sent me a text.
Okay, but it was that morning that he had informed you and asked that you
He was
cancel
going to stay home.
his appointments for the day. And you were also aware that Fabio had a colonoscopy appointment that day
I was told, yes, that he had a colonoscopy appointment.
by Fabio?
I think, yeah, I believe it was Fabio that had mentioned it.
Okay. And you later learned that Fabio didn't have any colonoscopy appointment that day?
Well, I'm gonna say that was objection, that calls for speculation.
Sustained.
But it was normal that sometimes Fabio would play hooky from work on a Monday or a Friday, right?
I wouldn't say hooky.
I'm sorry. Nancy's already in. She would say hooky.
You testified that prior to Fabio's death, you had suggested to Fabio that he travel less for work. You remember that?
Yes.
Isn't it true that Fabio had shared with you that he himself wanted to slow down for work because that's what Monica had asked of him?
I don't know that Monica had asked of him, but I know that he was traveling a lot, and it wears on you. I mean, he wanted to slow down a little bit about the travel.
You testified about this trip in San Diego in June of 2016. You remember that?
Mm-hmm.
That was 7 months prior to Fabio's death.
Yes.
And you also testified that Fabio had asked you to cancel the golfing and the massages, but you never asked him why he wanted you to cancel that, right? So you don't know why he had asked you to cancel those events. And you also testified that you had, when you would prepare Fabio's travel itineraries and agendas, you included Monica on those as an emergency measure, right?
Yes.
She was his wife. It would be normal for her
course.
to want to know where her husband
Sure.
was. After Fabio's death, you testified that you had taken on some responsibility in terms of putting together arrangements for the family in Canada, Fabio's family in Canada.
Yes.
And also getting together catering and some type of transportation for various events as
Yes,
well.
I did.
And that was something that the company had asked you to do, right?
Yes.
That wasn't anything Monica asked you to do
No.
for her. You testified that, well, let me ask you this. You were interviewed for the first time in this case back in 2021. Is that correct?
I don't know. I could be, yes.
It was several years after Fabio's death that you were formally interviewed by law enforcement and possibly the district attorney.
I had conversations with some detectives prior to that, but not necessarily a sit-down conversation.
But do you recall, just in terms of timing, that your first interview with law enforcement was several years after Fabio's death and Monica's arrest?
It was a few years.
You testified that on January 29th at the wake at the Sementilli home that you had made some observations of Monica Sementilli. Is that right?
Yes.
And you testified today that it was very dramatic.
Yes.
When you spoke with law enforcement back in 2021, you described it differently, didn't you?
I don't recall.
When you spoke with law enforcement back in 2021, didn't you describe that Monica couldn't get it together?
Well, she didn't seem to be getting it together at all.
And would you agree that that's different from very dramatic that you testified to today?
I think that the crying was very dramatic for sure.
Yes, you observed Monica both crying and sobbing during that.
Sobbing.
event.
I don't know. You have to understand something. It was at night out by the pool. I wasn't looking for tears, but there certainly was a lot of sobbing and, kind of bent over kind of look. And
So you don't know whether or not Monica was actually crying because you weren't looking for any tears at that time,
I
right?
was a little busy.
Right. And you also testified that you observed Monica sitting on the couch with a gentleman, Robert Baker, right?
Sitting there with a man, yes.
At no time did you see any interaction, any speaking between Monica and that man, did you?
As I said before, I was busy. I was putting the event on.
Right. So at no time did you see that
I did not
communicating.
see that.
You testified that you were asked by Monica to get the frequent flyer mileage for American Airlines. Is that right?
Yes.
But that was something that came up in conversation because Monica had to travel to Canada for a
Yes.
funeral,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
You testified, strike that. And with respect to Monica reaching out to you about potentially getting a hotel in Las Vegas, she said she wanted help getting a discounted room rate, right?
Yeah.
A
Yes.
deal. She wanted a good deal, nothing that was too expensive.
Yes. That's the way I understood it, yes.
And on the frequent flyer mileage, you actually kind of took it upon yourself to facilitate the transfer from Fabio's American Airlines to Monica's. You actually asked her to set up an American Airlines account in order to do that, right?
Sustained.
Did you ask Monica for her birth date so that you yourself could set up an American Airlines frequent flyer mileage program on her behalf?
I might have. That might have been the way that I was able to transfer the miles to her.
Am I correct that just prior to Fabio's death, he had just very recently turned in his insurance paperwork for the new benefits program under Cody?
I don't know about that. I know when he was doing increasing his life insurance. Health insurance benefits always happen in October, so that would have kicked in January. As far as his life insurance goes, that was something that's handled at a corporate level. Although I knew what he was doing and I knew why he was doing it.
And when did you know what he was doing?
I don't remember exactly.
Well,
it was sometime in 2016 that he was doing it.
Well, Cody purchased Wella. That deal was finalized in October of 2016, right?
Yes.
So
Around in that time then, probably.
in the late fall, winter, potentially maybe even early 2017.
Yes, and remember that we were owned prior to that to Procter & Gamble, so a lot of those benefits were transferred over to Cody, too.
But as you sit here today, you don't know whether Fabio elected for different benefit coverage under Cody versus what he had
No.
under P&G. Am I correct that, you had previously told law enforcement about what you had observed Monica's emotional distress at the wake? And isn't it true that you actually sent a counselor over to the Sementilli home at some point because you were concerned about the emotional distress in the household?
the Cody company offered this benefit, and they came to me saying, what would you do? And I said, I think that it would benefit the girls if they went there and maybe talked to them. And I mean, I think that's kind of normal. And the person went up there. I don't know that they wanted to talk with the person that went there. I did work with the person though.
For the Wella May Memorial, you testified that you were really surprised because Monica was in a different vehicle, a vehicle that was different from the Ford F-150 truck, right?
Yes.
And you testified that it was the full package, but you don't know whether it was the full package or not, do you?
I just saw the car.
Okay, you just saw, and it's a black Ford Mustang, is that right?
Yeah.
And isn't it true that Monica informed you that it was going to be extremely expensive for her to keep Fabio's truck, and that's why she had to turn it in?
She could have mentioned that.
This event, this Wella event, it had some form of catering with food and beverages, right?
Yes.
Including wine.
Yes.
And so the wine that Monica was drinking in the office before the event, I mean, that was the event, part of the event, right?
I believe so, yes.
The prosecutor asked you about whether Monica informed you that she was going to be going on trips with her, with Robert Baker. You remember she asked that?
Yes.
And Monica and you didn't have a friendship where that was something that she would otherwise communicate to you. Isn't that right?
I'm going to check. That would call for speculation.
Sustain.
Prior to Fabio's death, did Monica ever tell you when she was going on a trip somewhere?
No.
I have nothing further, Your Honor.
Anything further from the people?
You knew the week before, when Fabio left the office, that he was going to be working from home that following Monday, correct? The day he was murdered.
He could have mentioned it to me, yes.
That would be the type of thing he would typically mention to you.
Yeah, of course.
Law enforcement, actually, after Fabio's murder, came to the offices at Wella, correct?
Yes, they wanted to look at his office.
And they spoke to you then.
Yes.
And with respect to Fabio's frequent flyer mileage, that idea of transferring it to her was the defendant's idea, not yours, correct?
Could have been both of ours at the time. I mean, I just felt, I wanted to do it for her. I know that when she mentioned it to me, that because she was going to be doing so many trips to Toronto.
But those were being paid for by the company.
I don't know.
You didn't have that through the company with the repatriation of his body for the funeral? That was all paid through by Wella.
And it probably was. It was done through HR, though.
Okay. So she didn't really need Fabio's mileage if she's traveling on the company dime, right?
Objection.
Sustain.
She didn't need Fabio's mileage if the company was paying
If they're
for it.
paying, no.
And as you said, you wanted to help her and the girls with anything that they needed.
Of course.
You thought she was a devastated widow.
Of course.
When Fob came to the company, whether it was Fabio, whether it was under Wella, whether it was under Cody, whether it was under P&G, he had life insurance from the beginning.
Yes.
That was part of his benefits package.
Yes.
Okay. And when you said that you knew what he had done and why he had done it, you're referring to what you just described is he was increasing his benefits and his life insurance in order to provide for his family.
He made that.
Foundation, speculation.
Sustain.
Is that what you?
He made it clear that it was for his family. He wanted to make sure they were taken care of.
That's what he told you.
Yes.
And when you testified that you were surprised when she came to the memorial in this new Mustang, she told you all about her new Mustang, right?
I know they were talking about it. I mean, I think you have to understand too. I was pretty busy trying to make sure everything was happening, and she was taken care of, and the girls were okay. And of course, her mother was there as well. So,
Okay.
but there was mention of the Mustang. Yes,
She talked about the fact that it had all these gadgets in it.
yes, that it was pretty packed.
Yeah. And with respect to the question you were asked about the defendant saying it was extremely expensive to keep the truck, and you said she may have, you don't have any recollection of that as you sit here today, correct?
I don't recall. She might have mentioned it, but I don't recall that she did.
So you don't recall that?
Mm-hmm.
I have nothing further.
Anything further from the defense?
The prosecutor asked you on redirect whether Fabio may have mentioned the week before that he was going to be working from home on that Monday, right?
Yes, I mean,
That's what the prosecutor asked you?
Just to finish your answer, please, before counsel.
You may finish your answer.
okay. I think if you understand the circumstances, yes, he probably said to me, hey, listen, I'm going to take this Monday off, whatever, try to rework my schedule.
Okay, that he may have mentioned it to you,
He
right?
might have
But you don't have any specific recollection that he affirmatively did say that the week before, correct?
I'm pretty good, but 8 years ago is a little, I mean, I don't remember exactly if he did or not.
You don't recall, right?
He probably did, but I don't recall that when exactly he said that to me.
Okay, you don't recall that he said that affirmatively to you,
I'm going to
correct?
object, it's now been answered twice.
It will be clarified. It's overruled.
You don't recall whether Fabio affirmatively told you the week before that he was going to be at home on Monday. You can't recall affirmatively.
No, I don't recall.
Nothing further.
Anything further?
No, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Truesdale. You are excused. Hey, call your next witness.
People call Detective Dave Frederick.
That was getting a little heated for a moment there. Me too for March 1st. Me too. It is very interesting. I think I had way too many emotions on it. So really quick, while they're waiting for the next person, she did a remodeling right after the murder. She told this coworker, Fabio, that her friend said she should get away for a little bit, so she went to Las Vegas. That never happened. Friends did not tell her to go to Vegas.
I do.
And this is the 8th witness that said no tears.
And for the record, say and spell your first and last name, please.
My first name is David, D-A-V-I-D. Last of Frederick, F-R-I-E-D-R-I-C-H.
Proceed, please.
Thank you. Sir, are you currently employed?
I am.
Okay, and how are you employed now?
I work for a technological company, a camera company.
Doing security?
Yes.
Okay. And prior to that, did you have employment for many years with the LAPD?
I did.
Okay. How many years?
A little over 30 and a half years with the Los Angeles Police Department.
And what was your last assignment at the LAPD?
I was assigned to Robbery Homicide Division, assigned to a plainclothes tactical surveillance unit called SIS, otherwise known as Special Investigations Section.
For how many years were you in an undercover capacity?
I was in SIS for a little over 20 years.
I want to ask you about your surveillance work on this case regarding the defendant Monica Sementilli. Were you asked by detectives at Robbery Homicide Division to conduct a surveillance operation along with your team with respect to the defendant and her lover, Robert Baker?
Yes.
And were you briefed on March 9th of 2017 by Detective Corbin Rowe regarding the operation that was going to take place that day?
Yes.
And at that time, were you, along with the other team members, provided with photographs of the two targets?
Yes.
And do you see the defendant, Monica Sementilli, who you surveilled on various occasions here in court today?
I do.
Can you identify her, please?
She's sitting in the defense counsel wearing a blue jacket with a light blue shirt.
Indicating the defendant.
Showing you People's 14. Do you recognize the individual that you see here?
I do.
This is in People's 14. It has a red 2, Your Honor, in the bottom left corner. And who is that individual?
It's Mr. Robert Baker.
He was the second target in this case?
Yes.
And were you also briefed on vehicles that the two targets might be driving?
Yes.
Okay. Was one of those vehicles a black Ford Expedition belonging to Robert Baker, as seen here in Exhibit 142?
Yes.
On that same day, Thursday, March 9th of 2017, somewhere around 7:20 at night, were you and other individuals, including Rich Guzman, working a surveillance operation regarding the defendant and Robert Baker?
Yes.
And where were you at approximately 7:20 that night when you were setting up for this operation?
On that night, I was parked on the southwest corner of Van Owen and Independence in a parking lot. We were covering a direction from the surveillance.
Okay. So that would have been very near the location where Robert Baker was living at 6817 Independence?
Yeah, I believe he lived north of Van Owen.
Okay. And so you were setting up in order to see where he went that night?
That's correct.
Okay. And at some point in time, did you receive information as to someone in the unit having eyes on him?
Yes.
Okay. And was it broadcast to you where he was going?
It was broadcast that a black F-150 pulled into the northeast corner of Van Owen and Independence.
Was that black Ford F-150 also a vehicle that you were briefed on as belonging to the defendant in this case, Monica Sementilli?
Yes.
Okay. And once you received information that she was driving the Ford F-150, what was the next piece of information you received?
If I recall, there was broadcast over the air that they were looking at bags in and around the vehicle.
Objection. This is Q1
It appears so. If you wish to make an offer of proof, may you see it sidebar, please.
I'm going to actually play a video.
All right.
Subsequent to the broadcast was videotape obtained of both targets in a parking lot that you guys were also setting up on.
Yes.
Overruled.
Your Honor, I have two videos. The first one is a video of the petrol gas station. The second's going to be a video from LA Fitness. Both of them are on a flash drive that I'd like to, or I think has been previously marked as 158. We're going to add to that exhibit.
Really?
Is that the black Ford F-150 that you were advised of belonging to the defendant?
Yes.
And you've seen this video before, correct?
Yes.
And the shopping bags that are being carried by Robert Baker that you also mentioned?
That's what was broadcast over the air.
And then what did you see, if you could narrate for us what we're looking at?
Well,
He just put the bags into the back seat behind the passenger?
that's
front
correct.
passenger?
Yes.
And then do you recognize the female?
It's Monica Sementilli.
Here's that she's going to the passenger door and looking in the bags,
Yes.
pulling out items.
I believe the video speaks for itself.
It's over.
Holding up various items, is that what you see?
That's what I see.
Is this all consistent with what was being broadcast to you? And what you've seen on this video before?
Yes.
And during the time that this is happening, everything's being broadcast to you on a regular, repeat basis?
Just important details that the person, whoever's on point, is broadcasting.
And you pass off point during the course of your operations, correct? Depending on the direction that they go and who is parked where.
Correct. Like in a mobile surveillance, it's not just me that sees everything. Everybody in the unit sees a little portion of the surveillance, and whoever's on point, who has the eye, broadcast the movements or direction as if, and if I'm listening to it in my head, I can almost see it in my head, so I can make sure that I'm in the right spot in the surveillance to seamlessly get behind the vehicle or get on foot to watch them. That's how surveillance works. The idea is to watch a person, place, or thing, document, videotape, get some notes without being compromised.
It appears that they're both still at the back passenger door. The defendant's still holding up, pulling out various items from the bags, holding them up. And the two of them are conversing.
That's correct.
appears that the defendant has moved whatever jacket she was wearing now.
On the video, yes.
And then appears to be getting into that back passenger seat where the clothing bags were.
Yes.
And does it appear that Baker's going around the back of the vehicle to the driver's side?
Yes.
And again, at that point, was it broadcast to you and others on the team that night that they were moving?
Yes.
All right. And at that point, did you follow them somewhere?
I stayed where I was at. I was still at Van Owen and Independence on the southwest corner. The vehicle actually pulled into the area where I was sitting at, kind of behind me. I was facing southbound, and the vehicle pulled up to my rear, if you will, kind of northeast of where I was parked at.
Okay. So you didn't need to move. You were already set up in a good location.
That's correct.
All right. And then that parking lot there, that area of Van Owen, was that an open parking lot area?
Yeah, I believe it's an apartment complex with an open parking lot.
Okay. And what did you see once Baker drove in to that location?
Overruled.
I was with a partner. I wasn't just by myself. My partner was Detective Pete Miranda, Miranda. And I was driving, and I was using my side view mirror to get the visual, as well as turning my shoulder or turning my head to my left, looking back. But I saw Mr. Baker exit the driver's side and kind of walk out towards the right front of the vehicle, and see Monica Sementilli, and they were hugging and kissing, and then eventually I recall seeing them inside a portion of the vehicle, kind of I couldn't see exactly what they were doing, but the way their bodies were, that they were definitely embracing each other.
All right. And then did you follow somewhere?
From there, they loaded up. I believe Mr. Baker was still driving, and they drove away eastbound in the San Fernando Valley.
Okay. And at this point, did the defendant get into, prior to loading up and moving from that second parking lot, get into the right front passenger seat?
Yeah, I recall it was definitely the passenger side.
Okay. And where did you follow them to?
I'll allow this.
But the unit, my unit, and myself continued surveillance, and Monica Sementilli and Robert Baker end up going to the Good Bar Inn, or the Good Night Bar in North Hollywood, I believe.
Okay. And did your partner get out at that point?
He was out on foot.
Okay. Just like you were describing earlier?
Correct.
Okay. And at some point in time after he followed them on foot, did you see the defendant along with Baker come out of the location?
I didn't see him come out. It was broadcast to me that they were walking out.
Okay.
I had already placed my vehicle on Denny Street. It's in North Hollywood. It runs north and south, just north of that east-west major. I was able to locate the truck to the rear of the bar, at least see the top of the truck, and I saw them walking northbound on the east sidewalk, holding hands, prior to them getting into their vehicle.
Okay. And then did you follow them to another location?
Yeah, the surveillance continued, and I believe they ended up in West Hollywood area, or Hollywood area, to the Comedy Club.
And did you remain at that location till the end of watch?
That's correct.
All right. And they remained inside the location past when you ended your watch?
Correct. We had left the area, and they were still inside the location.
All right. The following day, Friday, March 10th, at about 2 o'clock, were you once again part of a surveillance operation that SIS conducted with the same individuals?
Yes.
Okay. And on this particular day, did you go to a particular location based on trackers that have been previously placed?
I believe we located Mr. Baker and his black expedition on the southeast corner of Ventura and Winnetka.
Okay. And what did you observe at that time?
That he was alone eating in a like a Japanese restaurant in like the strip mall area. I believe there's a Ralph's in that parking lot.
And at that location, did you get out of the vehicle and install something on his vehicle?
I did.
What did you do?
I placed a GPS tracking device on his vehicle.
I want to move your attention forward now to Monday, June 5th of 2017. In the morning, once again, were you working on a surveillance operation that took place that day at the Queen Vic location?
Yes.
Her residence, 5012 Queen Victoria?
Yes.
Woodland Hills? And did you observe her, the defendant, driving that day?
I did.
And did you observe her actually leaving the residence?
Not actually leaving the residence. I believe it was kind of hard to set up a point on the residence. So I was down the street and covering the direction, and I observed Monica Sementilli driving, I believe, a dark color Mustang.
Okay. And at this point, was this a new vehicle?
Yes.
Okay. Showing you what's been previously marked as People's 148. Is this the vehicle that you observed?
Yes.
And she was coming from the direction of her home towards where you were parked just down the street?
That's correct.
Okay. The next day, June 6th, once again, was a surveillance operation conducted that you were a part of?
Yes.
Okay. And in addition to the vehicle trackers that we've heard about, did you locate her that day from a phone ping?
Yes.
What's a phone ping?
Well, detectives can write search warrants for somebody's cell phone. Every 15 minutes, they would get a general location where it hits off a cell tower. That particular ping, I wasn't obtaining them, or I was not getting them from the phone company. I believe other detectives were. And it was broadcast that for us to look in the area of like Van Owen and Canoga area, I was able to pull into the LA Fitness parking lot on the southwest corner of, I believe it's Victory and Canoga.
Okay. And go ahead.
And located the black Ford Mustang in the lot facing southbound.
Okay. This is not a wiretap. It's a geolocation ping.
That's
information, correct?
Just a location to where it's hitting off a cell tower and puts you in a general area.
Okay. And so, what is it that you were able to locate in the LA Fitness parking lot over at in Canoga? Is that 6401 Canoga Avenue in Woodland Hills?
And I believe so, yes.
Okay. And what did you locate?
I located the black Ford Mustang parked in the parking lot.
Okay. The same one that you had seen her driving the day before?
That's correct.
Okay. And when you got to that particular location, were you in a vehicle that day with a partner, or were you by yourself?
I believe I was by myself.
Your Honor, I have six photographs from the LA Fitness located at 6401 Canoga Avenue in Woodland Hills. May they be marked as the people's next in order? 197?
Yes, so marked.
Thank you. Showing you what's been now marked as people's 197. There's a 29 in the lower left corner. Is this the location where you located the Mustang?
Yes, but on the far east end of this parking lot.
Okay. Showing you People's 197 that has a number 30 in the bottom left corner. Is there a large parking lot, as we see in these photographs, outside of this gym?
Yes.
Same location where you were set up that day?
Yes.
Showing you exhibit 197 that has a number 31 in the lower left corner. Is this the Mustang that you located in the parking lot?
Yes.
And where were you in relation?
I was just in the parking aisle just north and just a little bit west of the Mustang, where I had an unobstructed view looking southeasterly, if you will.
Are these photographs that actually you took that day during your surveillance operation?
I did not take this picture, but I believe another detective did.
That was working with you?
That's correct.
Okay. And during the surveillance operations by SAS, is it common that whichever detective has the best vantage point might take photographs or video or things of that nature?
Yeah, if you can work yourself in a position to take photographs and video, that'd be great. At least that would help the case, and we give that information to the detectives so they can sift through it.
Okay. And at some point, did you actually see the defendant with Robert Baker that day at this location?
I did.
Okay. Showing you People's 197 that has a number 32 in the lower left corner. Is this what you observed?
I did, but from the northwest of them, yes.
Yes. And so this was them coming out of the gym towards the Mustang?
That's correct.
Showing you People's 197, number 33. Is this another photograph taken of what you also observed that day?
Yes.
And the last one, 197, number 34. Can you describe for us what we see here?
Just see Robert Baker at the passenger door, ready to sit down, and Monica Sementilli is behind in the driver's seat, and they drove off together.
Okay. She was in the driver, he was in the front passenger?
Yes.
And approximately what time is this on June 6th?
I'd have to refresh my recollection. It was
Was it in the afternoon?
between 2 and 3.
Okay. And at some point in time before they had come out to the vehicle, was a vehicle tracker placed on this vehicle by Marcello Raffi, one of the other detectives working with you that day?
Yeah, that's correct.
And was this interaction between the two targets also caught on videotape that day?
I don't recall if I can't recall the video. There's a videotape, but definitely photos.
Let me see it. This reminds me. Is this what you observed?
Yes.
What do we hear in the background? Is that you guys talking on the radio? It says they came out with equipment.
It was probably me. I couldn't hear it right there.
Racquetball racket.
That's my voice.
Is that you broadcasting
Yes.
and also taking photographs?
Not,
Someone is?
Someone's taking photographs. I believe this might be Detective Plaus, if I remember correctly. But I was definitely broadcasting the movement, walking to the vehicle, and then looking at the right front of the car.
or at least around the vehicle talking?
Yes.
So is this typical of the type of surveillance that you did on the targets, where you would have a group of individuals, someone would be narrating what they're observing, photographs or video may be taken, and you spend a lot of time waiting?
Yes, ma'am.
And that's still your voice broadcasting what you're observing?
Yes, ma'am.
How far is this location from Baker's apartment at 6817 Independence?
No room.
Approximately.
I mean, he lived at Van Owen and Independence. This is Victory, I believe. One major south. Not too far.
A few miles.
A few miles, yeah.
And you told us that this was somewhere between 2:30 and 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
I believe so.
And did you follow them from this location to another location?
I stayed in the parking lot. I broadcast the movement. I don't recall exactly where they went from the LA Fitness.
Would it refresh your recollection to look at your notes?
It would.
Could you do so, please?
Yes, ma'am.
They appear to be driving away now.
Yes.
Where did you follow them to?
So after they left the LA Fitness, they drove back to Independence, where Robert Baker lived.
And where did the defendant park her Mustang?
You might like to refresh my look at it, if it's
Sure.
in there. I wasn't on point, so I don't recall exactly where she parked it, but there was notes that were being taken.
And being broadcast to you?
Correct. (6817) Independence, parked in the underground garage of the apartment.
Okay. And a couple hours later, did the defendant come out of the apartment? Hour or two later?
Yeah, forgive me, this is 8 years ago, so I'm just trying to
I know.
refresh my recollection.
Just let us know when you've done that.
Well, after they left the gym, they went to Independence. Then Monica left alone in the vehicle and then drove to the Ralph's.
Okay. That was a couple hours later, an hour and a half later?
Within the hour.
Approximately 4:15?
Yes.
I have nothing further.
Let's take our morning recess at this time for 15 minutes. The evidence supplies. We'll be back here in 15 minutes.
We have caught up. I can see that they are still on their break currently live. I'll go over a few things and then I'll move it to live with them. Several things. So that was obviously the Mustang that the first witness was surprised that she bought because she seemingly wanted to hold on to Fabio's truck, smelled like him, reminded her of him. And then she turned right around and bought that Mustang with all the bells and whistles. I thought that it was very interesting, and this has absolutely nothing to do with anything, but there we are watching them go up to the Mustang after the gym, and they both opened the car doors as far as they could open, and I just thought that was so odd. Obviously not something that people typically do, and there were no cars next to it or anything, so it's fine, but I just thought that was weird that they both did that. The first witness who worked for Fabio was the only witness I saw that really kept glancing over at Monica. Not for any emotions really or anything like that, but usually everyone has just been looking at the attorney who's asking them questions or the jury. So I thought it was interesting because she did it several times. All right, let me go ahead and move this forward. They came back and he is back on.
Alternates are present. Detective Frederick, you're still under oath, and the defense may inquire.
Good morning, Detective Frederick.
Good morning, ma'am.
Back in 2017, you were a member of this highly specialized special investigations section unit that was assigned to target Monica Sementilli and Robert Baker, is that right?
Assigned to conduct surveillance of them, yes.
Okay. And that surveillance was conducted by your entire team at the time at SIS?
Whoever worked that day, yes.
Okay. And that was, you were briefed on your assignment and targeting Ms. Sementilli and Mr. Baker. Do you remember when you were first briefed?
I believe it was on March 9th.
Okay. And am I right that you, the surveillance team, surveilled Ms. Sementilli and Mr. Baker, or at least tried to, from March through Ms. Sementilli's arrest in June of 2007? Is that right? 17? Is that correct?
But not every day. I believe I was only on 4 actual days of surveillance.
Okay. And of those 4 actual days of surveillance, am I correct, you only ever observed Ms. Sementilli with Mr. Baker on 2 of those days?
Definitely March 9th, I believe.
Okay.
And then definitely when they came out of the LA Fitness.
Okay. And that was June 5th?
June 6th, I believe.
June 6th?
Correct. And I did see Ms. Sementilli driving the Mustang. I believe it was June 5th.
Okay. But that, am I right, that wasn't with Mr. Baker?
She was alone in the Mustang on June 5th. That's correct.
Okay. So on these 2 occasions, you actually observed them together. The observations you were discussing earlier on that video where there were shopping bags and clothes, you didn't see that in real time, am I right?
I did not see that, no.
Okay. So that was Detective Guzman who observed that?
I don't recall who was broadcasting, but someone had broadcast that they were looking at items on that Independence and Van Owen Street on the northeast corner.
Okay. but that wasn't you.
That is correct. It was not me.
And there was no, I was a little confused, there was no broadcast of video at that time. You weren't watching it live, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. And what you observed was in another parking lot on the 9th, and you saw Baker drive the truck into the parking lot, and at some point Baker got out, Monica got out of the passenger side, and you saw some hugging and kissing and talking.
Yes,
And that was for, you think, less than 10 minutes.
approximately.
Okay. And then you followed their vehicle that evening on the 9th to the Goodnight Bar, and then later to a place called the Laugh Factory.
That's correct.
And then you left them there and finished your shift.
That's correct.
And on that surveillance that your team did, sorry, I'm very sorry. On that surveillance that your team did on March 9 and March 10, that's the only time you ever observed them, correct?
But then I believe June 6th at the LA Fitness.
Right, I'm talking about March 9, March 10.
That I observed him, yes.
Yeah. But you heard broadcasts as well
Yes.
of the surveillance, the other members of the team. How many members, how many detectives?
In 2017, I believe we had approximately a lieutenant, 4 D3s, and maybe 13 to 14 D2s, for roughly about 20 people assigned to SIS. But with days off and vacations, I couldn't tell you how many people worked. We do have a minimum of at least, I believe, 12 to 13 people that shall be in a surveillance. That helps with people getting out on foot. That helps with different looks of the vehicles. So there's not just me in surveillance, but the unit who was working that day.
It's a lot of manpower.
Yes.
12 to 13 a minimum.
Yes.
Okay. And am I correct that during your surveillance of Monica Sementilli and Robert Baker that day, you never observed Monica and Baker meeting with any other individual at any time, correct?
I did not observe that I can recall, no.
And am I correct, at no time during your surveillance on March 9 or March 10, 2017, did you ever hear a broadcast of Monica Sementilli and Robert Baker ever meeting with any third person?
Not that I recall.
Okay. And am I correct that the only other time you surveilled and saw Monica Sementilli with Robert Baker was in that LA Fitness parking lot, correct?
Correct.
And at no time did you ever observe Monica Sementilli and Robert Baker ever meeting with any third person, correct?
That's correct.
And nor did you ever hear any broadcast from your specialized unit about Monica Sementilli and Robert Baker ever meeting with any third person?
Correct.
Nothing further. Thank you.
Anything further by the people?
No, thank you.
Thank you, Detective Frederick. You're excused.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Take our next witness.
Thank you. People call Salvatore Pilera.
If you could please face me and raise your right hand. Just move over this way. Yeah. Do you solemnly state the testimony you may give in the cause now pending before this court shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Thank you. Please have a seat in the witness stand. And for the record, say and spell your first and last name, please.
Salvatore Pilera, Salvatore, Salvatore. Pulera, Pulera.
Thank you. Sir, did you fly in from Canada to testify in this matter?
Yes.
How are you currently employed?
I'm a sales manager for Kuhn Hair Cosmetics.
Okay. And previous to that, did you work for Wella?
Yes.
Okay. Did you become a sales rep at some point in time for Wella?
Yes.
And prior to that, did you work as a hairdresser and a salon owner in Canada?
Yes.
Did you know Fabio Sementilli?
Yes.
How did you know Fabio?
I knew him through the show circuit, the hair show circuit. Him and his sister were very big hairstylists out there, award-winning hairstylists.
From Canada?
From Canada, yep. And I always followed Fabio and his sister, Morella. And then I started working with Wella and started working with Fabio. And I was introduced to him.
Okay. So you had heard of them and followed them before you actually knew him?
Yes.
Okay. And did you and Fabio become very close?
Yes.
Okay. And through your relationship with Fabio, did you meet the entire family?
Yes.
Did you know his wife?
Yes.
Do you see her here in court today?
Yes.
Can you identify her, please?
She's here in the blue blazer.
Indicating of the defendant.
Thank you. Before Fabio moved to the United States, did you attend a party or a gathering, basically like a goodbye party for him in Canada?
Yes.
And at that party, did you have any conversations with his wife, Monica?
Objection, vague as to time.
Overruled.
Yes.
And did the defendant tell you why she had been convinced to move to the United States?
Yes.
What did she say about that?
She was happy with her life in Canada, but she was helping Fabio move on. She didn't want to go, but Ruben Carranza, which was Fabio's or the CEO of the company or general manager of the company, had a meeting with her and Fabio and convinced her to come on board. They were going to pay for their move. They were going to pay for their travel. They were going to help Fabio out in every single way they could, between car loans and helping with rent and all those wonderful things.
Okay. Did she also mention anything about life insurance or benefits?
Yes. She was also concerned about benefits and life insurance because in Canada we have subsidized healthcare or healthcare in general, but Ruben had convinced her that there was going to be benefits, full health care taken care of, everything was going to be taken care of for them.
And did she specifically mention to you that the life insurance and the benefits were something that convinced her to move to the United States?
Yes.
Overruled.
Yes, she was convinced. The life insurance and the benefits were great. The salary was not that great, but the life insurance and the benefits were really good.
So she told you, although the salary wasn't great,
Yes.
those other benefits, like the life insurance,
Yes.
were great. Okay.
Yes.
And was Fabio someone that you looked to for guidance and training and teaching and things of that nature since he was older than you?
Objection, relevant.
Sustained.
Did Fabio, at some point in time, once he moved to the United States, make you the regional education manager
Yes.
for Wella?
For within the Wella company, I was working with Cadis.
Okay. But it was under the
Yes.
auspices of Wella, yes?
Yes, definitely. Yes.
And did you, in that position, travel with Fabio several times?
Yes, many times.
Both inside the United States and outside?
Yes.
And did you even share a room on certain occasions?
Yes, many times. Yes.
Okay. And did he ever talk to you about anything that he collected?
Yeah. Well, he was collecting different things. Like he liked to gamble a little bit, very minor. And we got on discussion of investing in gold, gold coins, different things like that. I think that was particular. We had that conversation in Orlando.
While you were traveling on one of these business trips?
Yes.
And did he tell you during your travel about the gold coin that he would collect?
Yeah, he would purchase it. I was interested in what he was saying because I've never purchased any gold coins. I don't know if it was a U.S. thing or whatever it was, but
It's overruled.
Go ahead.
okay. So I was interested. So he let me know that he would purchase some gold coins. He even told me that you can get them at Costco.
Okay. And did he tell you that he would often use any extra money that he had to invest in gold coins?
Yeah, whatever kind of extra money that he had kind of left over, he would put aside. And Fabio was a guy always he was a keep the money in the safe type of guy. And
did he tell you that he used to keep his gold coins in a safe?
not particularly the gold coins in a safe, but he used to keep all his valuables in a safe. He didn't trust the bank.
Okay. Once Fabio moved to the United States, did you keep in contact with him on a regular basis?
Yeah, most of the time it was on a weekly basis. Sometimes when he was really busy, sometimes it would be on a bi-weekly or sometimes a monthly basis.
Did you come to the United States from Canada on several occasions to see him or for business?
Not to see him in particular, but for business, yes.
And that business meant that you would be seeing him, correct?
Always, yes.
And did you visit him at his home in Woodland Hills?
Yes.
And had you had dinner there on occasion?
Yes.
And did you go house hunting with him as well?
Yeah, we went, when he was first moving to the U.S. and he was transitioning, I was here at a 20th anniversary.
It'd be staying as non-responsive. It's overruled as irrelevant.
You went house hunting together?
Yeah, we went house hunting. We went to go look at different places before Monica and the family came down, and we went to go look at several different houses and different places. Yeah.
And once he purchased the house in Woodland Hills on Queen Victoria, when you would come to the house, was there a particular location where the two of you would sit and talk about business or meet?
Yeah, in the backyard.
On the covered patio area?
Yes.
And did you follow through the business Fabio's social media videos that he would post from that location on a regular basis?
Yes.
Training videos and things of that nature?
I don't know if they were training videos. They were awareness on what was happening within Wella, with industry, and of course his motivational quotes.
When was the last time that you saw Fabio prior to his murder?
I think June of 2016, I believe.
Okay. And were you in town that week for a training?
Yes.
And did you take a cab to the home on Queen Victoria to see Fabio?
Yes.
And did you come with another coworker?
No. I came in the cab alone. She came afterwards.
Okay. So she came separately from you to the location, to the residence.
Yes.
And when you got to the home, did Fabio let you in?
Yes.
Showing you what's been previously marked as People's 9. This one's page 8. Is this the residence that you came to in June of 2016?
Yes.
Okay. And when Fabio let you in, did he, was Monica home at that time?
No, not at that time, no.
Did she come to the home shortly after you arrived?
Yes.
And did you and Fabio and the defendant have a conversation inside the home?
Yes.
Where was that?
And the kitchen.
Okay. And did Fabio say anything to you that about that particular day?
Yeah. I didn't see him that day at the office, and he was at some show or some event, some OPI event in, I don't know where, but it was somewhere in Los Angeles.
Maybe Universal City?
Could be, yeah.
Okay. And what, if anything, did he tell you when you came into the kitchen and you guys were talking?
I was making fun of him.
Why were you making fun of him?
Because he's, Fabio was a big shot now, and just poking fun at him. And then when he asked me to come to the home, he said, let me know so I can open up the gates. And I'm like, oh, big shot has gates, and just joking around. And when I came in, there was, I noticed there was a monitor on the kitchen counter.
Yes.
And there was all video cameras everywhere. And I'm like, oh, you have all these video cameras, you know? And he had said to me, that's not me. I didn't do that. And he said, that's all Monica. That's all Mo.
Mo. That's
Yes.
how he referred to her.
That's all Mo. And I looked at her. I'm like, oh. And she says, yeah. Well, you can never be too safe. This is not Woodbridge.
Woodbridge is the area where you all lived in Canada?
Yes.
Did he tell you that he had come home to this?
Yes. He said, I came home to this. This is all Mo.
Showing you People's 7, previously marked. It has a 29 in the lower left corner. Is this the monitor that you were talking about? That
Yes.
you made fun of him about?
Yes.
Same thing we see in Exhibit 129, number 17. Yes?
Yes.
Same monitor on
Yes.
the counter?
Yes.
Your Honor, I have a Instagram post from June 28th, 2016. May it be marked as People's 198?
Yes.
Showing you People's 198. Did you follow Fabio's Instagram?
Yes.
Okay. And FobStyle67, was that his account?
Yes.
And the date here, June 28th of 2016. My wife and daughters don't know it yet, but Big Daddy is bringing home a few treats from OPI. Is that the kind of thing that Fabio would post on his Instagram account?
Objection, relevant.
So overruled.
Yes, he would always post things. He was very. He wanted his family always involved in everything he did. He felt that his success was only attributed to his family.
And so, does that give you a timeline in terms of the date when you talked about Fabio being at an event in Universal City for OPI, the date that you came to the home being June 28th of 2016?
Yes.
So, when he told you that he came home to this monitor, that Monica had had it installed while he was at this OPI event, her response was, you can never be too safe, this isn't Woodbridge?
Correct.
defendant often talk, and Fabio, about money and business and things of that nature when you would come to the home? Or when you would see him at events?
Oh, when we see him at events, we wouldn't talk about that when he came to the home, but at events, yes, we've had those conversations.
And did the defendant tell you prior to Fabio's murder that she was the one that handled the family's finances?
Yes.
Was that something that she had told you on many occasions?
Yes.
And did she tell you why it was that she was the one who handled the finances for the family?
Because Fabio couldn't do anything on his own.
Now, as part of Wella, did you travel with Fabio and Monica along with your wife on occasion?
On 2 occasions, we had the opportunity to travel to Hawaii, both Maui and Kona. I believe in 2010 it was Maui, in 2011 it was Kona, and we had the opportunity to travel together, yes.
Could that have been 2011 to Maui in 2012?
Yeah, well, 2011 to 2012.
And did you and your wife have lunch and conversation with Fabio and the defendant on these trips?
Yes.
Okay. And was there a day where you and your wife spoke to Fabio and Monica about how they met?
Yes.
And did you all talk about how they had met at Fabio's salon in Canada?
Yeah, we talked about how they met at Fabio's salon, and
And was there discussion about P&G and some of the new benefits that were being offered on one of these trips?
Yeah, we had a discussion about. I asked him, like, I mean, how are things going, and Monica had piped in. She goes, things are. I miss home, and but I'm here for Fabio, and I'm like, oh, things must be good. And she goes, well, they help us with the rent, they help us with all these different things. It's definitely not the salary. It's the benefits. They mentioned stock options, but they weren't great. But the more time he had, they would get better, and all the different benefits that they were getting when it came to health benefits and bonuses. But she did complain about the salary. It's not the salary that's keeping us here at all. Definitely not the salary.
In addition to the stock options and the health benefits and the bonuses, did she also say anything about life insurance?
Yes, she did mention the life insurance, and she had mentioned, yeah, it's not the salary that's keeping us here. He's worth more dead to me than alive. And Fabio's like, I'm worth more dead to her than alive. And then we all kind of laughed about it. It was a funny joke.
And did she specifically talk about the life insurance being very good?
Yes.
Did the four of you also discuss the profit sharing plan?
Yes, we did discuss the profit sharing plan, and Monica said that was very good, and Fabio had said it too. And Fabio had asked me if I was taking advantage of it, and at the time I did not take advantage of it. And I think there was a timeline. Well, Monica had mentioned the timeline. She said you have to take advantage of it before a certain timeline, and I never did end up taking advantage of it. So. Did
Fabio say anything about the paperwork when you said there was a timeline? What he did with the paperwork for the stock options and the profit sharing and things of that nature, life insurance?
Yeah, he did. He had meant. I had asked him about Oh no. So I had asked him about what is the timeline, and he's like, "Ask Monica because I don't know. She does all the paperwork."
And did Bob tell you that anything that was financial related he put through her, or he gave to her to handle?
If Fabio didn't handle anything on his own, he always had it. He always had his wife do everything because he was too busy to do things on his own. Maybe he was a little lazy, but his wife would do pretty much everything for him when it.
Foundation, speculation.
It's this thing.
Is that what not only Fabio told you, but the defendant told you herself on many occasions?
Yes.
She also tell you that she used to take care of the books or the finances in Canada when they opened Salon Fabio?
Objection, leading.
So I handle all the finances in my home when we were having that conversation, and Fabio had said, Monica's always done the work. She's college professor. She works at Humber College, and she's smart. So I always left it to her.
And that was when she was teaching salon management type classes at Humber College?
Yes.
Did the defendant ever tell you the amount of life insurance?
Not a dollar amount, but she had mentioned I don't know how serious it was, but she saw it's millions. I don't know if that was serious or a joke. I don't know.
And that was something that the four of you would talk about together.
We talked about, yes.
Subsequent to Fabio's death, did you attend events in Toronto for his funeral, memorial, things of that nature?
Yes.
Did you also attend an event at Morella's home with Marco in Woodbridge for the 1 month anniversary mass?
Yes.
And did you see the defendant at that event and back at Morella's home?
Yes.
And did you speak with her that night?
Yes.
And where were you when you had a conversation?
In the house and in the garage, smoking cigarettes.
Okay. And were you talking to the defendant about what her future plans were?
Yes.
And what, if anything, did she say?
She had mentioned things like Fabio had a lot of ideas for new product designs and new products, and she got into that topic, and then she'd start to get really flustered, and she had said something kind of offensive, just something to the effect of, I just want to fuck.
Was Morella there at that point in time?
I believe she was, yes.
And did she talk about the fact that she was moving on?
She said she wanted to move on, yes.
Okay.
I can't be like this all the time.
Okay. And this is the 1 month anniversary?
Yes.
Did she say that? When she said that, did she seem like grief-stricken, sad, more matter-of-fact? Can you describe her tone?
Objection, speculation.
It's overruled.
Matter of fact and upset.
Upset.
Yes.
By upset, what do you mean?
It just seemed like when she said it was more like anger.
Did she seem sad when she was talking about the fact that she needed to move on?
Not at all.
Okay. Did she tell you that she just during this conversation she just wanted to be free to do what she wanted to do?
Yes.
Did you attend an event, I think it was June 11th, 2017, the Muir Awards in Toronto where they were honoring Fabio?
Yes.
Did you see the defendant at that event?
Yes.
Did you do her hair for that event?
Yes.
And prior to the event, when you were set to do the defendant's hair, did she ask you to go somewhere with her?
Yes.
Where was that?
She had just, I don't know if she had just flown in. She had just got there at the event. I think it was the docks, Polson Pier in Toronto, where the event was. And Morella was supposed to do her hair, but Morella was coordinating the show, Morella was doing everything, so she was kind of flustered. Everybody was pulling Morella left everywhere. So she, Morella had asked me, can you do Monica's hair? I said, do you want me to do your hair? And she says, yeah. She goes, but I need to have a drink first. I said, okay, we can go for a drink. So we went to go get a glass of white wine at the bar.
Was that the defendant's drink of choice?
Objection, foundation, speculation, relevance.
Sustained on the first two grounds.
So the defendant had a glass of wine, you had a cocktail or something?
I believe I had a glass of wine as well.
Okay. And did the two of you talk?
Yes.
This was at the event at the docks or at Polson Pier where
Yes.
the bar area was set up?
The outdoor bar area.
Okay. And did she say anything to you at that time?
Yes.
And what was that? What did she want to talk to you about?
So I had a conversation with her about how she was doing and how everything's going. And she quickly told me that she was scared because the police wanted to talk to her.
Okay. And what did she say about that?
She said the police wanted to talk to her, and she was scared. I think when she went back on Wednesday, or was it Tuesday or Wednesday, she had to go back and she had an appointment with the police. She had said that they had found jewelry of Fabio's, but she doesn't know what jewelry they could have found because there was really no jewelry that was missing. And I said, okay. And she said that there's something that they found, or I don't know. She goes, I'm just kind of scared. And I said, well, why are you scared? And she goes, you don't know everything that's happened, and everybody's cut me off, and nobody talks to me anymore. They just let me be. Once Fabio's gone, nobody helps me. I've been calling the police all the time for the life insurance money. I didn't get any money. It's not only for me, it's the girls. Are you going to pay my bills? Are you going to pay the gardener? All those things. So that was our conversation.
Okay, so she told you that Wella had cut her off?
Yes.
And did she specifically mention the CEO had cut her off?
Yeah, she said Sal Mosieri cut her off, doesn't talk to her anymore. They don't help her. They haven't helped her with anything.
Did she tell you that Sal Mosieri had, along with Henry Meyer, had put into place a new policy and they were paying Fab's salary for 6 months to her?
Relevance, cumulative.
Overruled.
No.
Did she tell you that she had no money?
Yes, she did tell me that she had no money. I did offer to help in any way that she needed.
Did you offer to give her money?
Yes, I did offer to help money or anything that she needed, and she just kept on talking about how everybody cut her off.
And did she tell you at that point in time that people from Wella were constantly calling, coming to the house, bringing food, asking her if she needed anything? Did she ever mention that?
Overruled.
Said she hasn't spoken to anybody.
Did she tell you that Wella had actually paid to send Fabio's body back to Canada for burial?
No.
Did she tell you that people from Wella were getting her deals on hotel rooms in Las Vegas or Myrtle Beach?
No.
Did she tell you that she somehow had enough money to buy herself a new fully loaded Mustang?
Objection, argumentative.
Overruled.
No.
Did she tell you when she said she was calling law enforcement all the time regarding the life insurance that law enforcement didn't give a shit?
Yeah, those were basically her words. She had said that she calls them all the time, that they don't give a shit. She said now they call me, that they say they found something at Fabio's, but they don't understand. I need to take care of my daughters. I have no money.
And when she was talking about the police, did she tell you that she was telling the police or asking the police if they were going to pay her bills?
Yes, she did say that, yes.
Did she mention that Luigi, do you know who Luigi is?
Yes.
Have you met Luigi on many occasions?
Several occasions, yes.
Did she mention to you that Luigi had already received his life insurance money?
She did mention that to me, yes.
And what was her tone or demeanor when she told you that Luigi had received his portion of the life insurance?
She said Luigi had received his portion of the life insurance. I didn't seem that she was kind of upset about it, but she did say that that part of that chapter was closed, but her kids have not received anything.
And did she say, when you say not upset, did she seem like she was happy that Luigi had received his portion?
Objection, speculation.
Sustained.
Did she seem, in terms of her tone, did she seem irritated, angry, happy?
Same objection.
Sustained.
Now, at some point, after you had this conversation with the defendant, did you do her hair?
Yes.
And where was that? Where did that take place at this event?
In the prep room, that we were doing hair.
And did Sal Macheri come into the prep room during this time?
Yes, he did.
And what happened?
Sal Macheri came in, he looked directly at me, and he said hello, of course, as he always does. And I was doing Monica's hair, and I kind of pulled her hair back, and she lifted up, and he saw her, and he said hello to her, very professional. And she was just saying, she said hello back, but in a very low tone. And she was just muttering things under her breath. I remember her saying oh my God, and then she just kind of was muttering things that I couldn't understand.
And at some point later, were you on stage with Monica and Sal, Morella?
Yes. Morella put me on stage with a bunch of other people.
Okay. And did the defendant give a speech at the event? Did Monica give a speech at the event?
Yes, she did give a speech.
Okay. And then did she sing a song?
Yeah, she sang from a song from, or part of her speech was about Frank Sinatra. I did it my way.
Okay.
I don't remember her singing it, but I remember her saying something about, or putting in her speech about Frank Sinatra.
Was that because you knew that Frank Sinatra was somebody that Fabio admired?
Objection, speculation, foundation, relevance.
Sustained.
Was there a particular singer that Fabio loved that you knew?
Yes, Fabio loved Elvis Presley. He was crazy about him. I remember I had gone over to Salon Shampoo and was in the back, and then at American Idol they did a hologram of Elvis Presley, and Fabio was enamored. He had his laptop out and he was showing everybody, and look at Elvis Presley, and look how amazing this is, and he's he was the guy he always loved. And I know everybody knew that he loved Elvis Presley. I don't ever remember him mentioning.
Object now as non-responsive.
Sustained.
You never heard him, did you ever hear him talk about Sinatra?
Never.
The way he talked about Elvis?
No.
Now, did you subsequently learn that Monica had Fabio's body cremated?
Yes.
Did you know Fabio to be somebody who was an Italian Catholic?
Yes.
Would that have been something that would be in line with what you knew about Fabio?
Objection, speculation, foundation.
Sustained, and it is.
Did Fabio talk to you about communion of your son and things of that nature?
Objection, relevance.
Sustained.
You knew Fabio's family as well, correct?
Yes.
Including his mother before her death?
Yes, I met her. I met her.
Almost.
That state is working it right now. They are trying to get that in.
Good morning, Mr. Puera, right?
Yes.
They weren't able to.
Your testimony today started, you talked about the move from Canada to the United States, Fabio's family moving from Canada to the United States. Is that right?
Correct.
And that was back in 2010?
Somewhere around 2009, 2010, yes.
Okay, so approximately 7 to 8 years prior to Fabio's passing. Is that right?
Yes.
And you testified about how there was discussion amongst you, Fabio, Monica, and your wife back in 2009, 2010 about the insurance and the benefits and everything Wella was going to do for the Sementilli family to move them to the United States.
No.
Please help me understand what I missed there. That it was just
So we had that discussion in 2011 in Hawaii. I had a discussion with Fabio, Monica, even Morella was around at his going away party in Toronto.
okay, and that was 7 or 8 years prior to his death in 2017, correct?
Yeah.
That was also prior to Cody purchasing Wella in the fall of 2016.
Yes.
And you're aware that when Cody purchased Wella, all of the benefits, including life insurance and stock options, all of that changed, right?
Yes.
And at the time, you made a comment in your testimony that Monica had made some comment about the salaries not keeping us here, and there was communication about stock options. Do you remember that?
Yes.
And you are aware, as you sit here, are you aware that Fabio was not granted any stock options until several years after his move from Canada?
Well, I'm objecting to some facts on evidence.
Sustained.
And then you also testified about this trip in Maui where you guys had the lunch and there was the funny comment that you guys all laughed at. You remember that?
Yes.
And that was in 2012 or 2011?
2011.
Again, 6 years prior to Fabio's passing, correct?
Yes.
And you also testified that in speaking with Monica, she didn't mention a specific dollar amount, but you testified she claimed something about it being in the millions, right?
Yes.
And that was, again, a conversation that happened 6 years prior to Fabio's passing.
Yes.
How many times were you interviewed in this case?
By whom?
By law enforcement or the prosecutor?
Prosecutor, I believe it was once, twice actually, and never by law enforcement.
When were the 2 times with the prosecutor?
Back in just before COVID, I can't remember the exact date, but it actually was during COVID and that whole time. Maybe it was 2020.
Several years after Fabio's passing, as well as Monica's arrest, right?
Yeah.
And during those several years, am I correct that you spoke to a number of people about this particular case?
No.
You didn't speak to anybody between June 2017 and the time you were interviewed? Anybody from Wella about the case? And
About the case, about Fabio's passing.
did you speak to anybody at Wella between June 2017 and the date you were interviewed about a case being filed against Monica Sementilli?
At Wella, no.
Who did you talk to about it?
My wife.
You didn't talk to anybody else?
About the case being filed, no.
Have you ever talked to Morella? Do you know Morella Sementilli?
Yes.
And you never spoke with Morella Sementilli between June 2017 and the first time you were interviewed by the prosecutor about the case and the alleged evidence against Monica Sementilli?
Not about the case, no.
What did you talk about?
She gave me some great baking ideas.
Okay, so nothing about. Okay, asked and answered. Let's move on. When was the second time you were interviewed with the prosecutor?
I'm trying to remember. I would say in early January.
Of this year?
Of this year, yes.
How long was that interview?
I would say about 20 minutes.
Did you talk about anything new with the prosecutor in your interview this year, different from what you provided to her in 2021?
No.
Okay, you testified about this Orlando trip with Fabio and some discussion about coins. You remember that?
Yes.
When was that trip to Orlando?
I'm kind of thinking it was the Orlando Beauty Show. That's June. It was probably about 2015.
Okay. When you were first interviewed by the prosecutor, you didn't tell the prosecutor anything about this Orlando trip and gold coins and safes and Fabio can't trust the bank, did you?
I'm gonna object, that's compound.
It is.
When you interviewed with the prosecutor in January of this year, am I correct that it's the first time that you told her about this conversation with Fabio that he doesn't trust the banks?
No.
Okay. Is it your testimony that you told the prosecutor when you were first interviewed back in 2021 about this comment from Fabio?
I did tell her about this, yes.
Okay.
Whether she wrote it in her notes or not, I have no idea, but I did tell her.
At the June 2017 event to honor Fabio, Monica also told you during that time period that you were doing her hair, she had also expressed to you her frustration specifically with the Los Angeles Police Department, didn't she?
Yes, she did.
And you also testified that you understood Fabio's salary was continuing for 6 months, right?
I did not testify that. I had no idea salary was continuing.
Understood. You also testified that you had offered to give Monica money during this conversation, right?
Yes.
And at no time did Monica ever take a dime from you?
No.
The prosecutor asked you on her direct about whether Monica told you she was getting deals in Las Vegas. You remember that?
Yes.
Okay, and Monica, well, let me ask you this. Between January 23rd, 2017 and June 14, 2017, how many times did you see Monica?
I would say I saw her at the house. I saw her at the Wella events, maybe 3 times, 3 times. Yeah.
You only saw her 3 times over a 6-month period, right?
Yes.
And you didn't.
Oh wait, I did see her in Toronto, at her sister's. Supposed to be her sister's wedding.
And you also didn't communicate with Monica by text message at all between January 23rd, 2017 and June 14th, 2017, right?
Yes, I did. I
Okay.
did communicate with her.
How many text message communications
It
do
was
you
through
have?
Instagram messaging.
Okay, so Instagram messaging, but no text messaging, right?
No text messaging, Instagram messaging.
Prior to Fabio's passing, how often did you talk to Monica?
Before he passed away, I haven't talked to her much at all.
Okay.
Yeah.
In the year prior to Fabio's passing, how many times did you see Monica?
How many times have I seen Monica?
In the year prior to Fabio's passing.
I can't remember.
Okay. In the year prior to Fabio's passing, Monica didn't tell you when she was going on any other trips, right?
In the year prior to him passing away, did she tell me that she was going on any trips? I'm just trying to understand the question.
Yes, I'll clarify for you.
Yeah.
The prosecutor asked you on her direct questioning whether Monica told you that she was getting special deals, discounted hotel rooms in Las Vegas. You remember that?
Yes.
And prior to Fabio's death, Monica didn't communicate to you whether she was getting a great deal or a horrible deal on hotel rates anywhere in the world, right?
I'll allow it, so
No, she didn't tell me that she was getting any hotel deals or anything like that, no. She did mention that she was going on a trip to Myrtle Beach to walk a golf course, that Fabio was going to go for his 50th birthday.
Okay. But you were also living in Canada between,
Correct.
right. So you didn't know where Monica was going to lunch on the weekends either.
No.
You testified about this Elvis Presley American Idol with Fabio. When was that conversation?
2009.
Okay, so 8 years prior to Fabio's passing, is that right?
Yeah.
I have nothing further, Your Honor.
anything further about the people?
Just briefly, when did the defendant tell you that she was going to Myrtle Beach to walk the golf course for Fabio's birthday?
At Morella's house at the 1 month anniversary.
Did the defendant tell you she was going with her lover?
No.
She mentioned she had one?
No.
Nothing further.
Anything further?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you, sir. You're excused.
That had some fireworks. That was very interesting. Yeah, their quality of this right now is very bad. Sorry, I'm changing it as they're switching witnesses. Hopefully that helps. Give it 1 second. So, yeah, that was friend, colleague. He said a lot. He gave a lot of pushback against the defense, which seems like it was needed. The defense definitely was getting a little bit snotty with him. I don't understand why. Yeah, evidently this is not going to go to the higher quality. I don't know why it's so bad for them right now, but I'll go back. One second. Well, it cut her off. I think that's interesting. We knew she wasn't getting any money. We know that the FBI, police put a hold on her life insurance, so she wasn't able to take any out. His son Luigi did get it, and so did the daughters eventually. So we do know that hers never happened. I don't know why this is taking a minute. Hold on. Try a different way. Wonder if it's just that many people on that they can't make it a higher resolution. But I tried. It's definitely not going to work. Well, now neither of them are. Oh, we got action. Okay. It's looking better. 6 to play. Right, let me get us back to where we were. Sorry. I wanted the resolution to be better than what it was, but it's not happening. It's on their end, not mine. And it's interesting, though, that she had told people at the 1 month anniversary that she was going to go walk the golf course that he wanted to go play at. I don't know why I think that's so weird. Maybe that's normal for some people. I think that's weird. Why is this? Hello? Well, good. We'll have a lot of little breaks to skip through, I guess, since I messed it up by taking it off of it. Sorry, guys. Looks like it's loading now. Wanted to make it better, and it just made it worse. The next person is definitely in the industry. I saw a picture of who's next, and her hair coloring and everything is obviously she's in the industry. I thought it was funny. She had asked, Defense had asked him if he talked to Marcella about any of this. Marcella is Fabio's sister, and he's like, no. She gave me great baking ideas. I loved that. He definitely was pushing back with the different things that she was saying. All right, come on. Doing a new window. We're on a temporary hold. Just bear with me. I don't know why it's not starting now. Oh. Did I get it? Okay, hold on. Hold on. Did they go to lunch already? Let me click back. They are on lunch. So very quickly, just a tiny bit of her talking. Very brief. And then they go to lunch.
And for the record, say and spell your first and last name, please.
Melanie Garibay, Melanie Garibay. Is that okay?
Good afternoon, Ms. Garibay. Can you tell us how it is that you're employed?
Yes, currently I own my own company.
prior to that time, did you work for Wella?
Yes.
For how many years?
Approximately 18 years.
And what was your position at Wella when you left?
I was the national show director.
What does that mean?
I was responsible for our North American show team and producing our shows and events across U.S. and Canada, particularly the bigger events such as the North American Tranvision Awards.
Let me.
They might be going to break right now.
Thank you.
Let's see.
In terms of being the national show director, does that mean that you were the one responsible for producing the shows?
That's correct.
What does that entail?
That entails coming up with creative concepts with people on my team, and then, you know, being the main liaison for the hotels or the event spaces, and then on site really producing and directing the large scale events.
Okay. When you say large scale, and are you referring to, like you said, the Tranvision type shows?
Correct. I was in charge of our show team, and we did events large and small across U.S. and Canada, as I mentioned. So my team was responsible for some of the more regional events, and I was responsible for the larger events, such as the North American Tranvision Awards.
Okay. Events where you might have 1,000 or 2,000 people?
Correct.
And did you know somebody by the name of Fabio Sementilli when you worked for Wella?
Yes.
Were you on his lead team?
I was not on the lead team. I reported into Fabio as the national show director.
Okay. And so did you often travel with him to these large shows?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Did you and Fabio have a close relationship?
Yes, it was close. You know, I met Fabio as a platform artist for my large shows. Then we were colleagues, and then he eventually became my boss.
Okay. And through that relationship, did you also meet his family, including his wife?
I did.
Do you see her here in court today?
Yes.
Can you identify her?
Yes, she's right there wearing a blue blazer and a light blue shirt.
Thank you. As part of your relationship, did you also, and your work with Fabio, did you also travel with them on trendsetter trips, bonus trips to Hawaii and things like that?
Yes, I did.
Subsequent to Fabio's death, did you go to the Sementilli home to offer your support along with other individuals from Wella on a regular basis?
I wouldn't say it was a regular basis.
Did you reach out to her on a regular basis?
After the murder?
Yeah.
I did. I did check in via text here and again. And really didn't hear back much, but yes, I did.
All right. So you reached out and you also went to the home after the murder?
Yes, correct. I believe I went 2 days after the murder with some colleagues from Wella.
And did you also attend the backyard gathering on January 29th?
I did.
At some point later, did the defendant reach out to you and ask for your assistance?
Yes.
About maybe six months after the murder?
I don't recall.
I'm sorry, 6 weeks.
6 weeks, yeah. I think it was probably around March.
Okay. Your Honor, I have a Celebrate report with text messages between this witness and the defendant. It's 20 pages in total. May it be marked, please, as People's 199.
Yes.
Showing you the first recognize the first instant message conversation as coming from you to the defendant on January 24th of 2017 at about 6 in the morning?
Yes, that's my message there.
Let me make sure I'm right on the time.
It says 7, I believe.
6:06 in the morning, it looks like, on the 24th?
Or 7:06 and 0.6 of a second.
Yes.
Okay.
Here it is. Okay. And I want to direct your attention to the second page. Is this again another text message that you sent to the defendant on January 25th?
Yes,
Okay. Talking about how you're bringing wine.
correct.
On the third page, another set of messages from you to the defendant just saying hello, thinking of you, sending prayers, things of that nature from, looks like January 26th, followed by maybe February 3rd.
Correct.
And the response, TY for thank you, is that the typical response that you received back?
Yes.
And then again, further down, February 15th, reaching out once again.
Correct.
I now want to move to March 8th, bottom of the fourth page, just checking in, let me know when you feel up for a visit. Is this the type of text message that you sent?
Yes.
On the sixth page, on March 17th, do you recall receiving this message from the defendant saying, "Hi Mel, when you have a chance, could you give me a call?"
Yes, I do.
And did you in fact give her a call as she requested?
I did. I specifically remember this because we were having a meeting, and just because I really hadn't heard, back in detail like this in a while, I thought maybe it was something urgent or important. So I did call her, yes.
And what, if anything, did she want from you?
She said she didn't know if Fabio had let me know that she had a girls' trip planned, and she was wondering if I could help get her rooms at the Aria, since I had contacts there from previous shows I had done at Aria.
Okay. So she told you that she didn't know if Fabio had let you know about this?
Correct.
So, in other words, indicating to you that Fabio knew she was going to be going on this girls' trip and to check in with you to get your help on securing a room?
Correct.
During this time when she called you, or you called her in response to her text message, did she tell you that she had been very busy?
Overruled.
I can answer that.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, she's, obviously busy with just a lot of things going on. So, understandable, I would think.
So, given that she said Fabio knew about this, did you assist her in securing rooms?
I did.
Okay. And what were you able to secure for her?
I think this time I was able to secure some suites at Vidara. I believe, if I recall correctly, there was something going on in Vegas for the dates that she was looking for. So my contacts couldn't get her a suite at Aria, but they were able to get her, at the Vidara.
Okay. And for this particular trip, did she tell you that this was a trip that was to take place between March 23rd and March 26th of 2017?
I believe those were the dates that she had me check on.
Okay. And were you able to secure her, when you say suites, they were the Sky Suites, correct?
Sky Suites would be at Aria, and then I don't know what they are at Vidara, but I believe it was a suite.
Council, let me interrupt. Let's take our lunch recess now till 1:30. The evidence supplies. Let's discuss this case either among yourselves.
All right, we
With
are
anyone
caught
else
up.
informed or express any opinion to the cause. It's fine, submitted too. Have a good lunch.
Let me move this forward just so we stay caught up. Yeah, all of this happened within months of his death, which is just insane that she is sitting there planning all these trips, reaching out to business contacts to get deals and to do all this, leaving her 2 children at home, which is where that's where he was killed. So they are terrified of being there, and she's just out and about. It's just crazy to me. All right, I'm going to take my lunch too. I'm going to go get some coffee. I will be back when they are back. I'll have myself muted, but I'll be listening, so I'll know when they come back. We are getting close to the hour mark. They are known to not start on time, so do not be expecting that. We can be pleasantly surprised if they actually do. I cannot believe, and yet I can, that they are still on break. Completely. Where are we at with this? An hour and a half. They've been on break for an hour and a half. California has gone rogue over there. All right. What I'm going to do is I'm going to call it part 1. I will start part 2 later. And that way we can actually skip through this madness. Because even their short breaks are ridiculous. Sometimes, most of the time. So let me go ahead and put that in the chat. Making a part 2. Okay. Put it up in the chat so everybody knows. It's just crazy. I really like the trial itself, but half the day is spent on breaks. And that is why it's taking so long. Even Jeffrey said yesterday, 2 days ago, that this trial originally was supposed to be 2 weeks. That's what he heard from somewhere. We are in the 3rd business week, and there is no signs of slowing down. The defense hasn't even called anybody yet. So I've been predicting not this Friday, but next Friday might be closing arguments. But even with this today, I don't know. It might be longer than that. Crazy. All right, well, if you were here and here through this break, thank you for watching. Sometimes some of these are ridiculous. So stay tuned for the part 2 when we will skip over and actually watch the trial itself and not a still screen. All right, thank you.